Good morning, everybody. You are currently listening to a Tall Girls podcast hosted by a tall girl named India. I hope everyone who is tuning in today is doing super fantastic. Before I get into this episode, I do want to say make sure you follow me on my socials at a Tall Girls podcast on Instagram, TikTok. I don't even know if I should be saying TikTok anymore considering the recent current events, but we'll get into that a little bit later. And Pinterest so that you can stay up to date on all of the latest podcast episodes and catch a glimpse of my everyday life. Also, feel free to leave me a review and let me know how tall you are. I'm genuinely curious. I also have a monthly newsletter. You should definitely subscribe to that. Everything is going to be linked in the description. Well, first off, for starters with the TikTok thing, if you haven't heard, in America, the government is trying to ban it, get rid of it. And there was a hearing recently. So today is January 12th, I think. On January 10th, there was another hearing from content creators and from TikTok itself. And, you know, they were having hearings, and essentially TikTok said that if you guys want to ban us, we're not gonna sell to an American company. So essentially the government is saying that TikTok is gonna have to leave, like American users can't use it anymore unless they sell to an American or an American company. And TikTok confirmed, hey, we're not gonna do that. So the likelihood of it being banned literally next week, January 19th, is very high. So I don't even know if I should be saying follow me on TikTok anymore. Make sure you at least follow me on Instagram and Pinterest. And if I join any other social media platforms, I'll let you know. And I hope that everyone's 2025 is off to a great start. As for me, yeah. I mean, we're alive. We're breathing. That's ultimately what matters. But if you haven't seen one of my recent Instagram posts and also my newsletter, yeah, we were having a bit of a menty bee, but it's okay. It's okay. We're doing okay now, I guess. We're trying. That's what really matters. But I'm sure you guys can read more about that on my newsletter and on my social medias. I'll be providing more updates as time goes on, so you guys can check that out. But I don't know, I feel like weird saying all of this, saying that, and knowing that other people have it way worse than me, considering we have the fires in California. People are facing heavy congestion pricing in New York City, and then loads of people are gonna lose their main source of income, or one of their biggest sources of income, if TikTok leaves. So there's a lot going on this year, and it's only been 12 days. So interesting to see how the rest of the year is going to play out. So if you're having a hard time currently, just know that we're all going through it and you're not alone. Anyways, enough chatter about that. Let's get into today's episode. We are talking about tall girls in heels. Tall girls wearing heels. Because, there are a lot of, okay, before you say what the heck is going on, why are we talking about tall girls in heels? Let me explain. A lot of tall girls, many tall girls want to wear heels. They like the idea of wearing heels, but some of them feel like they can't or are hesitant to because they'll be judged. And this judgment that many tall women receive for wearing heels can ultimately lead to very deep, much deeper insecurities than that go beyond just wearing heels. And I'm sure probably from a surface level, you're like, oh, it's really not that deep, but trust me, it is. And we're going to get into that in today's episode because it does play a part in our insecurities and how we dress, how we present ourselves, and so forth. So I want to play a couple clips here so you can get a better understanding of why many tall women who want to wear heels are a little bit hesitant to do so and maybe a little bit insecure to do so. So let's take a look at these.
Times in my life where I was insecure about wearing heels. I have to admit that. I was worried about what my friends would think. I didn't want to tower over them. I was worried about walking into a room and all eyes being on me. I was worried about being taller than a guy and him not wanting to talk to me. And it makes me sick to my stomach to think that I ever felt that way.
How tall are you?
5'11".
Would you ever date someone shorter than you?
I did one time.
How tall were they?
5'7".
Damn.
Yeah, but he kind of had a god complex.
The 5'7" dude had a God complex?
Yeah, I could never wear cute shoes. He wouldn't let me wear my heels.
He wouldn't let you wear heels, ever?
Never.
What about a formal attire?
Sneakers and slippers, kind of ruined.
Do you still talk to him?
No, I ghost him.
I love how when I'm wearing high heels, people are like, you don't need to wear them. It's like, I'm not wearing them because I want to be taller, because I'm obviously quite tall. I'm going to wear what I want no matter what. But I feel like heels gives you like 10 times more confidence as well.
Now, I do want to ask the tall girlies, do you wear heels? Is it a love-hate relationship, just a love relationship, or just a hate relationship? The topic of tall girls wearing heels has always been a tricky one because we're often ridiculed or ashamed for it, or fetishized for it, but that's a different story. Comment below how tall you are if you wear heels. I actually asked you guys in a poll over on my Instagram. I asked the tall girlies, do you wear heels? 23% of you said, hell yeah, as often as I can. 41% said from time to time. And 36% said, nope, they're uncomfy / make me too tall. I am really surprised about the last one. Like, I'm really surprised that over a third of you guys said that you guys don't wear heels because they're uncomfortable or make you too tall. I'm honestly wondering if it's because they're uncomfortable or if they make you too tall. If they're uncomfortable, I get it because they're kind of uncomfortable for me, which I will explain in a sec. This is really shocking to me. I don't know. I didn't think that that last answer was going to get as many responses as it did. Very interesting. As for me, I don't wear it that much, but okay. So yes, I used to be insecure about it when I was younger, but as I got older, I was like, maybe I'll give it a try, and I don't mind it. But the issue is I have lateral and anterior pelvic tilts, which means that the weight of my body in a way is shifted to one side. So my hips are shifted to my right, so most of my weight is on my right side, and that has caused a bone in my ankle to kind of be out of place. It sounds like so weird and painful, but it's not. It was never painful actually. But one day I just happened to notice that it was out of place because there was a lot of swelling. And I noticed that when yes, I can wear elevated shoes, but if it's like on a slant, like how heels are, then it's going to swell up and then it takes a while for that swelling to go down. So I just really opt to not wear it that often. Or if I do, if there's a lot of sitting involved, that's when I'll wear it. So that's me on wearing heels and stuff. But I actually want to talk about the history of heels. So historically, men were the ones who wore the heels back in the day. Yep. Heels were literally made for men. At first, they were used by soldiers to improve their grips in stirrups while riding horses, but later they became a symbol of power and nobility. Interesting shift, right? And then at some point in time, women kind of adopted the trend of wearing heels. And then it kind of, in a way, because of that, turned into more of a feminine thing, and then the men were like, ew, no, never mind, no more heels. And then heels went from being a man thing to being a woman thing. I don't know, I feel like it was a lot more functional back then, but now it's more of a style type of thing. But I'm going to play this clip really quickly so you can understand the history of heels a little bit better.
High heels were actually made for men and not for women. Back in the 15th century, high heels were initially invented by a group of Persian soldiers. When the rider needed to stand in the stirrups, the heel helped him fix this position to take aim with the bow. In the 17th century, Persian diplomats visited Spain, Germany, and Norway, and so European kings learned about the new type of shoes. High heels have become a symbol of status and power. King Louis XIV of France decreed that nobody except the nobility could wear these. It was believed that higher and redder the heel, the more powerful the wearer. Around the same time, fashion for men's clothing began to spread among European women. It was then high heels fell out of favor among men's fashion and became a fashion trend for women.
So it's interesting to see that shift and see how it turned into something that is great for and fashionable for women to wear. Just not tall women. Let's unpack. Now that we know a little bit about the struggles of tall women wearing heels and the insecurities that come from that, and then the history of heels, like, you're probably wondering, what is the connection? If it was such a functional and now such a fashionable thing, why are we shamed and ridiculed and even questioned for wearing heels? And honestly, I'm just gonna say it straight up. Most of these comments and ridiculing and shaming and all that, most of it comes from men, okay? I'm just gonna say it straight up. Don't come for me because that's just my opinion. But anyways, why do people do this? And trust me, the answer is very important, especially if you're a tall girl listening to this and you're feeling insecure about wearing heels. It's definitely going to help you going forward, because I know it's definitely helped me going forward. And it's going to help you feel less bad about wanting to wear heels and actually wearing them. In my opinion, the biggest reason why people shame or ridicule or question tall women for wearing heels is because, like, they'll say, you're already tall, you don't need to be any taller. Well, number one, to you, I don't need to be taller. And number two, why does it matter? Am I hurting anyone? Is the world ending? No? Okay then. But here's the deal. There are people out there who don't like when a woman or someone they see as quote unquote inferior is taller or bigger than them. It's almost like a power struggle for them in a way. So when an already tall woman wears heels, it has less to do with the fact that she is wearing heels and more to do with how it makes the other person feel. Some people just feel really uncomfy when other people take up space, both figuratively and literally, because in a way it kind of challenges societal norms. To them, women aren't supposed to take up space. So as tall women, because we're tall, we already take up space. So for them, it's kind of like a, why do you need to take up more space with heels? You get what I'm trying to say? I asked you guys again in another poll over on Instagram, and I just want to say, if you want to participate in these polls and have your voice, have your opinions heard in these episodes, make sure you follow me at A Tall Girls Podcast so you can do so. But I did ask you guys, has anyone ever told you you shouldn't wear heels? 58% said, yep, I'm called too tall, which is honestly so devastating. There is no such thing as too tall, okay? Let's keep that in mind. There's no such thing as too tall. 18% of you guys said, nope, people love them, and 24% said, I don't wear heels. And it's interesting because over on my Instagram, I have an older demographic following me, like 25 to 50s and even 60s, because some people have hit me up and said that they're in their 60s. And I'm assuming that you guys are also around people who are around your age. And even as we get older, people still say this. People still say, oh, you're going to be too tall in heels. Grow up. Like, that is actually crazy to me. And I'm so sorry if several people, especially as you've gotten older, have told you that you're too tall to wear heels. You are not too tall to wear heels. There is no such thing as being too tall anyways. All right, let's dive back into this episode, because it's kind of like representative of a power dynamic, as I've even mentioned before earlier in this episode, that heels became a symbol of power and nobility, and ultimately height is a symbol of like power. I wouldn't say nobility, but a symbol of power, masculinity, dominance, and so forth. So in a way, that ideology kind of transferred down the generations, even though now heels is seen as more of a feminine thing to do or a feminine thing to wear, but it still adds height to a tall woman. So adding more height to somebody who's already tall, that can still be, to some people, intimidating, overpowering, because that person may already see height as something that is powerful, intimidating, domineering. And then on top of that, let's face it, like when we tall women wear heels, we feel more confident, and that kind of exudes, like that kind of radiates off of us. People can pick that up, and some people find that intimidating as well. So a tall woman, especially a confident tall woman in heels, kind of challenges their own sense of power and masculinity, and then that makes them feel insecure. So essentially, all in all, what I'm trying to say is that some people don't like tall women in heels because it makes them feel insecure. It makes them feel quote unquote inferior. It makes them feel less powerful than that tall woman. And if they're not secure in their own selves, to be like, yeah, like she looks great, and like the fact that she's wearing heels doesn't say much of anything about me and my personality. If they don't have that idea in their head, then they're gonna feel bad about it. If they don't have that ideology, then they can't just simply be like, oh yeah, like she looks great in heels, this has nothing to do. Like, that's just so weird. But then on the flip side, tall women can kind of internalize other people's judgment and their behavior towards her because she's wearing heels. And this can lead to self-doubt, especially if these comments and judgment are coming from people that they actually care about, whose opinions and words and thoughts that they actually care about, especially like friends, family, families, even partners, significant others. Comments like, "You're already tall enough, you don't need to be taller," makes us feel like we need to shrink or hide. The comments can really lead to internalized beliefs that height is something that we need to apologize for as a woman. But then there's the other side of like fear of judgment or being seen, because constantly being perceived as a tall woman is exhausting in my opinion. And I really want to do an episode on that, just like being perceived, constantly being seen, stared at and so forth as a tall woman, and how that can be tiring and make us feel a little bit anxious. But constantly being stared at, constantly being looked at, and then on top of that, people making certain comments, it can just produce a really scary and anxious feeling. And then that already happens to us because of our height just in general. Adding heels to the mix can amplify this. Let's listen to this clip from this tall woman really quickly.
I love being tall. Don't ever get it twisted. But there is days where I want to walk out of the house and wear heels and have people not stare at me and look at me like I'm crazy. Short girls can walk outside anywhere and wear heels and no one's going to question them. But when I wear heels, people look at me like, "Girl, you tall enough. Why are you wearing heels?" Because sometimes I want to look like a female too. Being a tall female just makes you feel like you have a superpower. I can't describe it, but like, if you know, you know.
So tall girls, if you want to wear heels, wear them. It doesn't matter if it's a 1-inch block heel or a 7-inch stiletto. If you want to, just wear them. If other people get mad or insecure about you wearing heels, that's their problem, not yours, period.
That's something that's really helped me with like the idea of wearing heels and feeling like, oh, I'm going to be taller than like all the guys in the room. It's like, that's more embarrassing for them, not me.
From one tall girl to another, wear the freaking high heels. My biggest regret is waiting until I was 22 to start wearing high heels. For reference, I'm 5'9", and all of high school I never wore high heels. But I'm here to tell you they look amazing on us. High heels look so good on tall girls. So if you are nervous to wear high heels as a tall girl, this is your sign to start wearing them. They look amazing.
I really did just want to bring light to this topic because this is a real everyday experience for tall women. Life is too short to not wear what we want to wear. And we literally live on a floating rock in outer space. Like, it's really not that deep. Please just wear the heels. So what did we learn today? Listen, I'm not saying that everybody hates when tall women wear heels. Some people don't care. Some people are like, yes, girl, you do you. Other people fetishize tall women in heels. But yeah, we're not gonna discuss that right now. But there are definitely people who are insecure about other people being taller than them or tall women wearing heels. It could be a friend, it could be a family member, it could even be a partner. So if somebody is saying that, oh, you don't need to wear those heels, you're already tall enough, you don't need the heels, you're gonna be too tall and so forth, please do not internalize that and think that there's something wrong with you, because there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you wearing heels. Girl, you're gonna slay in them heels, trust me. I just want to say that if you're receiving comments like that, it's because the other person feels insecure about themselves, feels insecure around you when you're taller than them, feel insecure about you having confidence to wear the heels and having confidence in those heels. It challenges their own sense of power. It really, truthfully is a them problem. So if you want to wear it, just know that in the back of your head, if other people have an issue with that, they don't have an actual issue with you wearing the heels. They have an issue with themselves. And that's on period. So yeah, I'm going to end the episode here. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate you. As always, feel free to hit me up on my socials. I can't even say TikTok. Just hit me up on my socials. Whatever is available is going to be linked down in the description anyways. And let me know what you thought about this episode. Like, did what I say make sense on just providing insight into why some people don't like when tall women wear heels? Like, do you feel like what I said makes sense? Do you have other insights? Do you have other experiences with wearing heels? Like, let me know. I'm down to chat. I'm down to have a conversation about it. And of course, you could always let me know what other episode topics you want me to talk about. And yeah, hopefully we're going to take 2025 week by week. Trust me. We're going to do okay. We're all going to be okay. So yeah, hit me up on my socials, and until then, I'll catch you in the next one. Good night and goodbye.